generic sports leagues. And now it's time for Four Seasons Football with Nate and Corey. Two guys who can't get a gun in 32 states.
Well, that was really hurtful, generic AI voice that I created. How's it going? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Four Seasons Football. My name is Corey. With me is Nate. Say hello, Nate.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in.
Everybody, welcome in. This is a sports podcast. How you know, I'm really glad that you and I finally decided to make a sports cast because, you know, in all my years of watching the internet, no one has ever made a sports podcast, specifically one angled towards football. This is going to be amazing.
Seriously untapped market.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to be able to keep up.
It's cool when, you know, as an artist, like, it's just cool when you can just squeeze into a market and know that, like, this is an untapped resource for sure, you know?
Anybody who's looking for a football related podcast is going to find us.
Yeah, well, they have to. That's how the internet works. All you have to do is click that go live button and you're famous, right? That's how I was always led to believe it goes.
That's my expectation. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just got an email from the president of Hollywood. Apparently, we're already famous. It didn't even take a full episode. We did it.
Oh man, I don't know if I have the money for a Hollywood star.
Well, you know, look, I think they pay for it, so I think we're good. All right. Enough bullshit, man. Let's get down to the hardcore X's and O's or whatever. I don't fucking look. This is the first episode. These things always suck till episode 10. I don't know if you see, Nate, I don't think you've ever done a podcast before. Have you? Is this your first podcast?
It's my first.
Okay. I have done so many fucking podcasts and all of them have been dog water. So let me just tell you how it goes. The first one, it's just kind of hit or miss. It's whatever, you know, but you got to really, really commit to it because around episode 10, it tends to be pretty good, but we don't have that luxury because one of the things you and I did was we decided to be real fucking ambitious and cover the UFL, which nobody is fucking doing. I mean, honestly, these people should be fucking thanking us. We're the only people out here covering this fucking sport, you know?
We are, and it's going to be interesting diving in with zero information. It's a new season. It's a new league.
Yeah, well, and that's actually something that we can talk about right away off the top is that this isn't something you've ever had any experience with, right? Like, I mean, you were never really into the XFL. You were never really, I mean, you watched it here and there, but like you never really followed it, right?
Right. I watched a couple of games last season. Before that, I think I caught the original XFL when it was WWE, but that was just
the Lord's XFL. And you know this about me. Like, so for those of you who don't know, me and Nate have been friends for a long time. Look, man, I love the XFL. I've been an XFL mark for fucking ever, and you know that about me. And yeah, this is interesting because they combine the two leagues together. And I was really trying to get everybody involved in stuff with it last year. And it was funny because you did the same thing all my friends did. Like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'd love to do that. And then everybody just fucking ghosted.
Well, the problem is, like, one, with the NFL, we've been following that forever. Everybody's been following that forever.
Well, okay, let's do this.
You've got
do this quick.
all of those interactions to have with all of the people you run into,
right?
That just keep you engaged.
But let's do this first, right off the top, right? Give these people like your just background with just football in general in the NFL.
So essentially, lifetime Vikings fan. Been watching intently.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Oh, I got something for that. Okay, say it again.
Lifelong Vikings fan.
I don't know if you can hear the sound effects, but I got the skull horn on my sound drops.
Cool, baby.
Hell yeah. Okay, so lifelong Viking fan, like lifetime football fan though. I don't know that you've ever just kept it to. I mean, yeah, you love the Vikings, but like you've always just loved football, man.
Absolutely, playing it all of the years that I basically could, and then totally geeking out on fantasy football starting in I don't know, the early aughts.
The early aughts.
20-01, 20-02.
Who the fuck talks like that? Like, are we going to do an episode here and you're just going to start it off by going ahoy hoy? Like, who the fuck talks like that? The aughts? What are you, 80?
You gotta catch them and bring them in somehow.
God damn it! You don't bring them in by using fucking 100-year-old colloquialisms. That's not how it goes.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
All right, you know what? You're right. The data's still out. You could be right. I could be right. You know, all I know is this. This is your first podcast, and I've done a bunch, and I've never got famous off them. So very well, you could be correct.
I mean, every dart throw is worth a shot, right?
That's right. That's what they say. So first and foremost, and this is kind of a fun thing too, is we also have 4seasonsfootball.life. That's where you're going to be able to find the podcast. I don't know what day they'll drop. We'll record them live on these channels whenever we get a chance, but they'll have a live schedule to them, or they'll have a live. I can't fucking talk. They'll have an actual like schedule that they release to them. But if you want to get in touch with us, you can go to 4seasonsfootball@gmail, or you can follow us on Twitter at 4sfootball, and that's the word 4sfootball, no space, on Twitter, and that can get you in touch with us, which I think going forward will be a very good mechanism of failure, or, you know, especially as we get famous, we're going to have a hard time interacting with all you little folks, you know? And I didn't mean that to sound like we're targeting midgets. I love all the people in all the communities.
Yep, I'm going to be just sitting staring at that silent phone for hours and hours on end.
Yeah, that's right. Just really like looking at it. So one of the other things we're going to do is we're going to be doing our own fantasy football league with DraftKings, right? You said DraftKings had a weekly one?
So there are UFL leagues that you can set up on altfantasysports.com. But I think for this first year, rather than trying to scramble and get people to form a league when none of us really have any idea what's going on, I think the daily fantasy route is going to be the way to go. Just that way, we make some total guesses week one. Then once we've actually got some information to work with, we can continue making those rosters, but with better information as we go on.
Right. Well, and I think also it gives people, as the show grows, which hopefully it does, it gives people a chance to jump in when they otherwise wouldn't have been able to jump in, you know, because if we just did one right now, it'd be you, me drafting, and then like maybe drafting a fake team for one of our friends and then them not updating it, you know?
Yeah.
Like how I've played fantasy football for half of my life.
Even with 8 teams in the league, a 2-man fantasy football league is not great.
Right. But I'm excited for that. Like, that's actually, like, this podcast is going to be awesome, but that's also one of the things I'm most excited for overall, is because I really, really want to fucking see how just absolute like rodeo this shit becomes. Because like, I don't know, you know your shit when it comes to fantasy football, and that's another thing we can bring up is as the UFL phases out, we're going to keep going NFL. I mean, there's a reason we're calling it 4-season football, guys. It's fine. Like, I think the real funny part is we probably at no point will cover soccer, so people just have to deal with that shit. And if you found us and that's going to bother you, that's on you. You know, I don't think either Nate or I will lose much sleep over the soccer people hating that we're calling it a football thing, right?
No, not in the least. It's football, friends.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us a bit about so with the DraftKings things, is it everybody drafts their team and people can multiple draft different guys like the normal one is, or how does that work?
Yeah, so for daily fantasy, everybody has their set amount of money for their roster and picks the players that they want and just has to keep their total player value under that total roster amount. So everybody can pick the exact same team if they really wanted to. Obviously, that's not going to make anybody money, but... And then on altfantasysports.com, it's not for gambling, and it's a little bit different setup. That one just has quarterback, running back, wide out, flex. And at the moment, the salaries are basically useless, but there's a leaderboard, so might as well pick some people there and see who stands out. For DraftKings, it's the traditional daily fantasy. They do have roster values for all of those players. And that's gambling with real money, which makes everything more fun.
I know, that's kind of nice. So maybe we'll do both. But the other thing is when we're done today, Nate, you'll pop up on the Twitter and put those links on the at Force Football. That's going to be kind of for people that don't know Nate. He doesn't do Facebook, which I think is the right answer. So we're gonna really just pull your teeth to get you to interact with some social media a little bit more than you normally do. I'm sorry about that, but that's just how it has to be.
Yeah, I don't really exist online, so using a generic podcast name for my window into the world, I could do that.
Yeah, no, I think that you'll actually enjoy that the most. I'm not gonna lie. I think you'll actually enjoy it a lot more than you think you will. So yeah. All right. So what? Okay. Now again, we went over just kind of a brief history. You've been playing fantasy football since the odds. How long have you been gambling on football? Because come on, gambling's where it really is going to get fun, right?
I mean, same amount of time, 20, 25 years there.
And what do you like? What do you love most about football? Like, why is football? Because I know, like, I'm just trying to get you to express the kind of autism that you express on football out to the public? Because you're a very withdrawn person, but like you are like a high level autist when it comes to like the X's and O's and number crunching of football.
Well, so at its core, football seemed to me like as close as you can get to military conflict without anybody dying. You know, you've got each general setting up their strategy, and then once bullets start flying, everything flies out the window, and it's up to the individuals that are out there. But that was the original like idea to me of football and why I loved it so much. Then I got to be old enough to play, and I got to run around with pads on and hit people, and that just absolutely cemented my love for the game.
So basically, in your head, it's like chess, but not for pussies.
Yeah.
Checkmate, bitch. You're off sides.
And then once I got into the fantasy football and the gambling aspect of it, then it's a whole lot of numbers and analysis, and I can get lost digging into that just fine.
Yeah, well, you are a math nerd. You always have been. That's fine. Same reason why you like poker. Maybe that's what we'll do. If some people start bitching about too much football content, we'll just mix in poker and tell them to get fucked.
Definitely.
So, all right. So, okay. So we have like, so NFL, followed it most of your life. You played a little bit, all this. What are you looking for and what are you looking forward to out of this UFL season? Because one of the things we're going to have to do right now, and the reason we started it here, is we're going to go really heavy on the UFL. And that might not be the greatest to a lot of people, but we don't fucking care. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the whole thing.
Well, like what really excites me about it is with fantasy football, you don't actually need to watch any football. There's enough information and statistics and takes out there that you can just read other people's opinions and bounce them off of each other and honestly do really well and get a really good idea of what's going on. With this, there's not that wealth of information that's out there. And I don't think there's the level or number of experts out there. So with this, I'm finally in a spot where actually watching the games and paying attention and doing my own analysis should put me in a good place.
Yeah, well, and I think that's kind of the cool thing, even for somebody like me, who, you know, I've followed every rendition of the XFL. I've followed. I've loved the XFL. I loved it even when it was just old school fucking wrestling football, you know. But the last time, not this last time, the second time it came back, it would have stuck if not for COVID. Like, to me, and you know this, I've advocated this every day. To me, the XFL is a superior game than the NFL. It's not being played by superior athletes by any means, and I'm not saying it's a better product. I'm saying when you look at the game itself, to me, it's a superior game. It's a better brand of football that I like. It's not like the players aren't as good. You know what I mean? Like the actual finished product isn't as good because the athletes aren't as good. But it's like that general analogy you made, you know? It's like if the generals were better, but the soldiers sucked almost. But the generals aren't better. It's just the weapons are better, I guess is a better analogy. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it is a more open and better game. Like, yeah. NFL just keeps moving closer to flag football while
I know, right?
XFL has and USFL and UFL are still keeping with a more exciting game.
Well, and that's what's so interesting about the UFL, you know, because I feel really bad about the USFL last year because I'm an adamant NFL guy, you know that. Go Skull Vikings, and you know I love the XFL, like cause the law, go Battlehawks, and it just, to me, I felt like the USFL always got this raw deal, you know, because like as much as I love football, the moment the XFL was over, like it became time to pay attention to like the draft. You know what I mean? Like that's enough football, you know, which is funny because the podcast is called 4 Season Football, but I just didn't have it in me to follow it that much. And I'd watch a game here or there, you know, but to me, it was always the XFL. And the fact that the XFL and the USFL, they joined and formed one league, just brilliant. I mean, that's exactly what they needed to do. And one of the things that's really cool is they adapted a bunch of the rules. Like you have the rules list, I think, right? You're the rules guy.
Yep, at least the rules for the UFL this year as differs from the previous two.
Okay, so why don't we take this opportunity, since it just seems like a very good flow point, to jump into some of the rules? And why don't you, as we go, why don't you tell me things that you think are better or worse, or just like impressions of the rules as we go?
All right. So, as far as the changes and new rules, no more extra points, no more kicking extra points. Instead, the team can choose to go for an extra point of 1, 2, or 3 points from the 2, 5, or 10-yard line.
Which now, if I'm correct, and I could be wrong, that was always how the XFL did it. The USFL just had the kicking points. That's why they have to say that, you know? But in the XFL, it was always the 1, 2, and 3 points. And that, to me, that's where the game gets interesting because of the way they do conversions, right? Because the what is it? The 1 is on the 2, the 2 is on the 5, and then the 3 is on the 10, I think, right?
Yep.
And that, like, to me, it's so crazy because you're watching a game, and that means like an 18-point game is a 2-possession ball game.
Yep. Well, and yeah, it opens up more opportunities to kind of gamble.
Right.
Also, to an extent, you know, if the team's identity is just pounding the ball versus people who throw the ball like crazy, there might be a skill advantage to going for those 10-yard 3-pointers.
Well, I'll say this as somebody that is a big Battlehawks guy. Like we have McCarron or AJ McLaren or whatever. McCarron, I always forget his name. They have that fucking wide receiver in Washington on the fucking Commanders that's like McLaren, and then he's McCarron. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The quarterback of the Battlehawks is a very proficient backup quarterback in the NFL. And so the Battlehawks will go for 3 a lot and make it a lot because their passing game is just solid. Whereas like somebody like the DC Defenders, whose defense is really good and pounds the rock, you're not going to see them go for the 3. You know, they'll go for the 2 every now and again, but mostly they're going to go for that 1, you know?
Yep. Until they're forced.
And the other thing too is like the 1 is not like a first and goal at the 2 or whatever it is. Like that's not a guaranteed point.
No, I mean, a lot of things can go wrong on any given play.
Right. So, all right, we got that. And again, that's just, I think the reason why they say different in the thing is because I don't think the USFL was like that. I'm not as fluent in the USFL as I am the XFL, you know? So it's kind of funny because it's like, what?
A little iffy on those two. I was trying to figure out for sure whether a reception was 2 feet in or 1 feet in. And basically the only thing I could find was something saying, yeah, we're going to go with the USFL system because it's more similar to the NFL
in the XFL,
system.
it was 1 foot in.
Yeah.
So it's 1 foot in the XFL, which they got rid of, which I think is I actually think that's one of the best moves they made, personally. Like, I think that
I've never been a fan of the college system for that.
Well,
like
I don't care about that, but my whole thing is like, especially with the marketing behind XFL, if your whole marketing stance is that you're trying to get a bunch of people prepared for the NFL, you have to have that as one of the rules. You can't just let them play college rules, you know?
Well, yeah, with something that's so fundamental to the game that like a sideline catch is going to happen 5 to 10 times per game. Like that's constant, not
right.
Yeah. And then let's see, no coin toss. The home team chooses kick or defend. That one was a little odd to me.
I think that was how it was as well. Because like originally in the original XFL, it was that weird ass scrum thing where people were just getting fucking injured. Have you ever seen that? Like the original
drop it in the 50-yard line.
Oh yeah, no, it was like a rugby. Yeah, it was a rugby scrum. They literally would drop it, and these people would run at each other at like 5 yards out, and it was just literally a rugby scrum.
Yeah, I mean that's super entertaining, but awful for
terrible for injuries. Right.
But it's because there's 4 teams or 8 teams, 4 in each conference. It's perfectly set up with an even number of home games, so they can do it this way, and that's
right.
Yeah. Just completely fair, nothing up to randomness. I got no.
I think it's. I actually think that it's interesting. When I first heard about that, I was actually kind of mad about it. But I kind of think that in a weird way, it is more fair because it's not random. You know what I mean? Because again, right. There's 8 teams, everybody's going to have that many home games. Everybody's going to have X amount of opportunities to defer, and then it also makes the home field advantage in the playoffs worth way more, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's the time of season in the NFL, at least, where teams start taking the ball rather than deferring, because getting a lead with a home crowd is a big deal.
I don't know. I think you always defer, but that's just me. I would always defer. Like I think getting the ball back at halftime to get that extra possession opportunity, no matter what, is the except for in overtime. Shout out to Kyle Shanahan and being a fucking dumbass.
But yeah. If you're a crazy offensive team and play really great with the lead, there might be the justification for taking the ball, but it's ultimately your choice.
Yeah.
All right, and then let's see, new overtime rules,
Okay.
which took me a minute to get to wrap my head around. But each team gets 3 chances to score from the 5.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
get
It's like
2
hockey.
points for each of those scores.
Yeah.
And then whoever has the most points from 0 to 6 after each of them had their 3 opportunities wins. Or if it's still tied, they go 1 attempt for 1 attempt until somebody gets a lead.
See, that's interesting. I don't know what I think about that, but I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I mean, the older college system was just you got your 4 downs to score whatever you can.
Right.
It's definitely different having 3 shots to get
Well,
2 points.
And that's the thing I like is I like when they're embracing the difference. And again, I don't know if it's going to be the same as it has been in past, but I have a feeling the XFL is the one that really like consumed the USFL. I think the XFL was a more popular product. So I think those people are more in control, and those people have done a very good job at adapting. The thing XFL doesn't get enough credit for is every rendition of the XFL, the NFL has stolen something for the NFL out of all of them.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, for better or worse, they've always seemed to be really focused on getting viewers entertained and watching, which like ultimately is going to make everybody more money. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. What else we got?
All right. So challenges, coaches can challenge pretty much everything, period. The only stipulation is they have to have a timeout to do it.
Yeah.
Which, awesome. Any penalty, anything. Why should they not be able to challenge it?
Yeah, well, and I think if they're wrong, they lose the timeout still, right? Did they change that?
I believe so, which is why
so the way it worked in the XFL was you can challenge as many as you want, but if you miss one, you take a timeout. So like if you have 3 timeouts, you could theoretically challenge 3 times wrong, Yeah. Which I think is fair. I think that's actually really cool.
Yeah, I mean, no fan cares about the game slowing down when it's about guaranteeing the calls get right.
Right, like especially if you're going to take it out of the hands of the fucking ref, we all understand it, which is actually one of the, I don't know if you had this in your notes, but I know you and I have talked about it. One of my absolute favorite things about the XFL, and I hope they keep it, they haven't really, I heard they're going to, but I haven't really seen anything in print about it, is that whenever there's a replay, they send it up to a place called the command center. And you basically are watching 2 refs with a hot mic watch on a screen the replay as they talk over what they're seeing. And I think that's super brilliant, and I think everybody should be fucking doing that, because all these people who want to go, oh, the NFL's fixed, all this, that shit goes immediately away when you do this. Because even if you don't agree with the refs, you can see what they're seeing and you can hear what they're thinking, and you're like, well, I don't agree with that, but I get it,
Just having it totally transparent and them justifying exactly why they're making the call they're making, like, you can still disagree with it, fine, but it's all transparent out there in the open.
Right. And at that point, it's what it's going to be, and I like, there was a game last year I remember watching on, and that's the other thing with the XFL, and you'll see that when you watch it, like it's really customized and built for watching on TV, which is awesome, because being at the games is rad too, but like it's a really good product to watch on TV. And there were a couple times, I remember this one game with DC where they made what I thought was the wrong call, and the refs were in the thing saying they thought it was the wrong call, but there wasn't enough evidence to overturn it. And that to me, it's fair, like, yeah, not what I want to hear, but at least they're saying it. I can understand it. Right.
Yep. Rather than just a guy going under the hood for a minute, coming back and saying,
right.
Nope.
It's like, no, I don't think so. Like, what did that hood clown see? Like, what the fuck's happening? Right.
Rigged.
Yeah, no, and that's where the whole fucking rig shit comes from, right?
Yeah, this isn't the NBA. Come on.
Yeah, for real. We're not. Well, and it does feel a lot of the times with the NFL, especially lately. I don't know if I'm just getting more bitter in my old age or if it's getting worse, but it seems like makeup calls are going through the roof lately.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I'm usually watching NFL games with a serious bias. Generally, I want one team to win much more than the other. So I don't know if I can really give that unbiased opinion on refs and calls.
I mean, that's fair, but I feel like even when I'm watching games I don't give a shit about, which are far and few between,
Yeah.
Although I suppose with all the pick'em shit, there's always a team I'm rooting for. Yeah, that's a good point.
But I don't know. Ever since the Patriots won in 2001, I've had an inkling something might be going on.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't when New Orleans Saints won right after Hurricane Katrina.
That also contributed.
That was also a contributing factor. All right, what else we got?
All right, let's see. They introduced 2 forward passes, so long as the first one is behind the line of scrimmage.
Which is interesting, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's still. I feel like it's essentially the same rule as.
Well, it's just you can forward. It just allows the quarterback to forward lateral to bail himself out for like a Statue of Liberty, you know.
That, and it does open up the playbook to crazy trick plays.
Right.
Because you could double reverse, have somebody lose a whole bunch of yards, and then throw the forward pass across.
And I'm pretty sure that was the case in the XFL last year, but not a lot of these rules. They'll say they're doing this because the USFL had it different than the XFL.
Yeah, and I'm really totally unfamiliar with the USFL rules if they were different in any way.
All right, I'm waiting for you to get to my baby.
Oh, well, next up is kickoff move to the 20.
Yep.
Which, unlike the rule that the NFL had just adopted, having both teams lined up way down at the far end zone, pretty much, this is just, wide open kick with all the room to run you want.
Right. And that's awesome. I think that's great. And then are they still doing they have to wait till the dude catches it to go?
See, that's what I think was removed. That's what they're doing in the NFL now.
Oh, they're doing that in the NFL now?
Yeah, NFL is doing the kickoff. I think they moved back the kickoff, but the defensive and offensive players are lined up close to each other, much further down toward the opponent's side of the field. And then, nobody can move until the receiver catches the ball.
Interesting. Yeah, because there you go. That's what they took from the XFL, because that's what the XFL was doing last year. And I think every version of the XFL has had they can't go until the catcher catches it.
I'm going to have to do another check because my impression was they were moving the kickoff back for the team kicking and just opening up the field for running.
Well, no, they definitely moved it back, but the opening running is new. Again, for the XFL, they used to go at the 30, I want to say 40. I forget. It was already back a little bit more than the NFL anyways. And again, some of these rules are just going to say USFL and XFL and say it's changed, when it's different for one and not the other. But you can
so this one is really trying to limit the touchback so that players are actually returning the ball.
Right.
And then let's see, final rule change is the onside kick replacement.
Yes. This is my favorite. This is my favorite. Awesome. This is my favorite rule ever, and this is how the XFL has done it for the last two times.
And I think they shortened the distance. It's now a 4th and 12 play.
What? Shut the fuck up. 4th and 12. Haha, it used to be 4 and 20.
Yeah, which happens every once in a while, but that's a challenge. 4th and 12. Teams already have all these plays in their play.
Yeah, dude, that's what I love about they just are stacking this shit to just be entertaining. I really feel like the UFL knows its lane. I really do. I feel like no matter what this ends up being with the talent or anything else, but I just feel like they just know their lane, and that's fucking fun.
Yep. It's two sides of the same coin. Being entertaining and trying to get people to watch and just having fun, and then also trying to showcase these players to potentially get them moved up to the NFL.
Right. So what is that's the last of the little rule sheet there?
Yep, those are the only updated and changed that I'd grabbed.
So of the rules that you are reading or seeing, what are you most excited to watch as a fan going into a league that you've never watched before?
So probably most the 4th and 12.
Sure.
And the 2 forward passes.
Yeah, right.
Because the overtime and extra point rules are different, but totally fair. We'll see what happens, but not all that exciting. But if you're down 2 scores, score that with 30 seconds in the 4th quarter, you can go for that 4th and 12. That's pretty phenomenal.
Right. That's fucking dope as shit. It's so interesting, again, just as an experiment, And I can't wait. I'm so fucking excited. Again, you know me. I was nuts excited about this shit last year. You know, I love the XFL and the fact like the UFL, the fact that they took these two leagues and condensed them, really cool in my opinion.
What I'm curious of now is with that 4th and 12, if they score on that play, I'm assuming that's got to be a touchdown rather than successfully completing the onside play to keep possession. But I don't know for sure.
I don't know. I mean, I would think. Well, no, yeah, it's a touchdown because that's why it's a 4th and whatever play because it's still a live play.
Which I'm assuming means they have to be. Okay, so yeah, they're on their own 28-yard line, which means if they successfully complete that, they've got the ball.
Correct. Right. That's why it's worded. That's why it's worded like that. Is my understanding.
It's got to be okay.
I would think. I mean, check it out. Who knows? We're gonna find out, though, baby. We're gonna find out.
Weird extra point rules where the defense can pick it off and score the 1 or 2 points. I don't know about those for the 1, 2, or 3 either.
Right.
Well, more research to be done.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now I think we should get into our meet the teams, right?
Yeah.
Because we gotta meet the teams that we're rooting for here. Let's do. I want to bring up the USFL teams. I should have had this prior to the show, but I didn't. Here we go. Okay, so we have the Birmingham Stallions, Gamblers, Showboats, Panthers, New Jersey General. I should give Birmingham Stallions, Houston Gamblers, Memphis Showboats, Michigan Panthers, New Jersey Generals, New Orleans Breakers, Philadelphia Stars, and Pittsburgh Maulers. And that was your USFL league, okay?
Yep.
So of that, and then let me get the old XFL stuff. I mean, I can...
I closed those tabs. There's no going back.
No, I know. That's kind of what happened to me, actually. I literally closed those things, and I was like, oh, shit. Like, I was like, oh, I should have kept them for now, but I just fucking didn't, so whatever. So, all right, 23. So, the teams that were on the XFL were DC Defenders, St. Louis Battlehawks, Dallas Renegades, which became Arlington Renegades, Houston Roughnecks, Seattle Sea Dragons, San Antonio Brahma, and Vegas Vipers, which replaced the Guardians, who went to Orlando, and then the Los Angeles Wildcats also were replaced. So, anyways, so the thing that was interesting was that a lot of those teams like got downsized, and it was funny. So the final roster was San Antonio Brahmas, Orlando Guardians, Houston Roughnecks, Arlington Renegades, Vegas Vipers, St. Louis Battlehawks, Seattle Sea Dragons, and DC Defenders. Now, what's really interesting about this is that they had to had to fold in some teams, right? And the Vegas Vipers were the worst. Like, that was the worst team in the XFL. They were fucking trash. They played in a stadium that looked like it was a fucking high school stadium. I mean, they were trash. Dude, check this out. The capacity of their stadium they played in was 12,500. Think about that.
That's half a Texas high school.
That stadium. Is, yeah, right? Like, that's fucking insane, right? And Arlington was playing in an old stadium that nobody uses called the Choctaw Stadium, which had 25,000 people, right? But they were selling it out all the time, right? The Vipers couldn't even sell out 12,000. So when they were folding, everybody kind of knew it was that, right? But like, the one that shocked me was Seattle. Like, when Seattle folded, I was shocked because Seattle actually had a game that was close to sellout, and they're playing at Lumen Field. Like, they're playing in an actual NFL stadium.
Yeah, from what I understand, they had a really big following.
They had a huge following. They were like the third. They were like the third highest selling merch. They got close to selling out some of their games. I mean, huge. And then when they folded, I was like, what? Because the other one, like, again, the Vegas Vipers folding made total sense, and the Guardians one, like, kind of made sense. You know, it could have been, but kind of made sense. You know. But like the Dragons got
with
absolutely
Seattle
boned.
is just geography.
I think that's what it was, you know, because there's three Texas teams, and so they just kind of centered all around there, you know. And the ones that they folded in the USFL didn't have anybody. They didn't have anybody coming to them, you know. I mean, like the fucking like some of the teams were like, because the thing that was interesting about the ones that folded, you know, you had like the fucking the Panthers got relocated, Stars folded. Like a lot of the teams that folded weren't really that bad. They just folded, right? And then you have
And
good.
I don't know what's going on behind the scenes money wise. They might have been asking for X investment from the owners to keep on, or you know what I mean.
Yeah. And it's tough. It's tough to deal with, right? So anyways, you know, I'm a diehard Battlehawks fan, and I heard word on the street is you're gonna come join me at Cause the Law, baby.
I think I have to. I was looking at teams, and I mean, the Stallions definitely intriguing, back-to-back champs from the USFL. The DC Defenders were pretty amazing in the XFL last year before losing it in the championship.
And you got the beer snake. I mean, DC, you get the beer snake.
Yeah, but the Battlehawks, they've got the best fans. They've got the best chant. They've got AJ McCarron with the feel-good story coming back to play for his kids. Yeah, I'm rooting for the Battlehawks.
And they also were the only team that sold out a full stadium. Like the Battlehawks, like, so the Battlehawks had a huge rabid fan base from before, right? And they came back and they sold out their first 2 games, like, because what they do is they do limited seating, right? And they sold out their first 2 games, and then they basically put all the tickets out, and they still sold out the rest of their games. The only other people that did that was the only other people that did that was the Brahmas. The Brahmas actually had their entire stadium filled, because like even when the Sea Dragons had people there, they still were covering some of the seats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where it just gets fucking crazy. But so what I did is I tried to so I tried to like consume it all and push it in and figure out where a power ranking would be based on the 2 leagues combining, right? And that's what's so interesting about this episode is that nobody knows anything. Like, I feel like next week and the week after, we'll have some stats, we'll have some stuff that we can actually digest to get a more accurate, like understanding of what it is. But this is the power rankings that I was looking at, and I don't really agree with them. So it was just cracked me up, you know?
No, I'm super intrigued to see. Like, I think we'll know Saturday by 3 p.m. how the 2 leagues stack up, like just right. Birmingham versus.
Well, I think that's
tell us a lot. I think.
Yeah, and I think that's something that deserves a lot of credit. The opening game is the 2 teams that won last year, and I think that's awesome.
Heck yeah. Which, I mean, it's the same thing the NFL does. First game of the season is I forget what it is.
The conference champions or whatever it is.
But at any rate, it's a super intriguing game.
Yeah. So the thing is, this is the power rankings that I found, and I actually I went and found 3. I was looking all over the internet, and believe it or not, it's very hard to find UFL power rankings. I was able to find 3. Most of them are about the same, but the biggest one here that so these are the UFL power rankings as they stand according to a lot of the experts, and I'm going to tell you where I agree and where I don't agree, right?
Yeah.
So number 1 on almost everybody's sheet are the Birmingham Stallions, right?
Yep.
And everybody goes, they're undoubtedly the team to beat, you know, because they were back-to-back champs, right? They had a combined record of 21-3 over their 2 seasons, and they won 2 championships along the way, right?
Yep.
Their performance was dominated, but here's where I come in, right? I don't think that fucking matters at all. I think the USFL was trash. And I think beating up on a bunch of fucking tomato cans doesn't mean you're the most powerful team. And so that's why it's really interesting, because like if Arlington shows up and just absolutely pushes the Stallions shit in, I mean, just beats the fuck out of them, we'll know that it's going to be a long season for all these UFL teams.
Absolutely.
But at
this point, it's just a total question mark.
Right, because there is no...
How those 2 leagues actually do stand up,
right?
You know?
And that's what's so interesting about that first game, you know, because I think you're right. I think we'll know. Number 2 had the Battlehawks, which, you know, again, AJ McCarron, the offense is high powered for sure. And I love the Battlehawks, but I would be hard pressed to put them above Arlington or DC, honestly. Like, DC's defense is crazy. Like, our offense is unreal.
I mean, Arlington is such a wild card in my mind. Like, they went 4-6. Yes, they put on that run. They managed to win the championship with Luis Perez.
They just turned it on when it mattered.
4-6.
They got hot when it mattered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, okay, you can look at their record and all that, but when you're looking at a power ranking, like they're the champs, bro. You have to have them won. Especially if your argument for the Stallions is how many times they've won in their record, right? I guess the record then. But Battlehawks offense should be one. I mean, it's unreal how good they are at offense. Like, I wish our defense were better, but our offense is dope.
Definitely. And they can make those comebacks.
Right.
They did it repeatedly.
Well, and the other thing that's interesting too is, and this is something that not a lot of people are talking about. Like, not only do the Battlehawks, like, they're always a really high-powered team. They always have a pretty good record. They always can kind of hang with anybody. But the championship is going to be held in their stadium this year.
Yep. Why would you not when you can guarantee to sell it out?
Right, exactly. You know, because they will. And then at number 3, they have the DC Defenders, which I mean, DC Defenders' defense was the best. And their offense, if their offense had even just a little bit of like production, they would have very easily won the championship, in my opinion. I think that I think they're the ones that should be won. Like, let's Arlington, I was giving him respect of winning, but I mean, DC's defense was easily the best team going down the entire time.
Well, yeah, I mean, they went 9-1. They were, and what was that? The Orlando Guardians? Somebody, maybe the Vipers, somebody terrible gave them that one loss in the regular season.
Yeah.
So that means they can fold. But yeah, 9-1 season, they were playing like crazy.
Yeah, it was playing their brains out. And then underneath that, we have the Arlington Renegades. But again, I think they should be higher. I understand why they're not, 4-6 record, sure, but they managed to go through a very hard field and crush it, right? And then number 5, this is interesting. They have the Memphis Showboats. So again, what's really interesting to me is I suspect that the XFL teams are much better than the USFL teams, but I don't know that for sure and won't know that for sure till we watch it,
Right.
But I love the Showboats as I love that Memphis has a team. I like their logo. Like, I just like the team a lot. I think the USFL did a better job at just brand designing for cities.
Yeah.
Because like Birmingham Stallions is a dope ass logo. The Showboats is a dope ass logo, And they have that, DeFlippio or whatever. The guy who used to be a guy in the NFL on their offensive. I forget his name.
John DeFilippo.
There it is. And that's what's kind of cool too, is like, as somebody that's watched the NFL a long time, you see these names like, oh shit, that's cool,
Oh yeah, they stand out like a sore thumb as I'm looking through rosters, but
right. And then we have number 6, we have the San Antonio Brahma, which is probably my second team, as stupid as it is to have 2 teams in an 8-team league. But I just like the Brahmas I have to root for because they're the place I go to watch. Like the San Antonio's an hour from me. You know what I mean? It's like I can go down there. I watched the Battlehawks play last year down there, and that place is fun. It's fun, I just kind of look out. They're not that good of a team, but they're fun. And they have maybe the worst logo and color scheme of any team in any of the leagues. It's just this ugly ass yellow with a B on it. It's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, Panthers colors are pretty ugly too.
Yeah. They also have head coach Wade Phillips, which is never a good sign.
Well, I mean, it'll be interesting to see because he's new with that team this year.
Because he was
he's got a hell of a pedigree from the NFL.
Yeah,
mainly as a defensive coordinator, but I give him a little shot. I
mean, we'll see what happens. And then number 7, you have the Houston Roughnecks. And I just don't even know, you were the one, we were talking about this off air, is, I could not find anything on the fucking Roughnecks. Because it kept saying the fucking Gamblers, and it's because the Roughnecks aren't actually the Roughnecks anymore. They're the Gamblers, but they re fucking skinned them. That's why fucking Wade Phillips is over on the Brahmas. That's such a weird thing. But I guess if you have to keep one, you keep the Roughnecks because that's the one that looks more like the old Houston Oiler logo and scheme. So of course the people probably like it better.
But really bizarre. They had 2 teams in Houston, one for each league. And I mean, yeah, I don't know what went on behind closed doors to decide which team took over which. But as I understand it, the majority of the coaches for that team are from the Gamblers. Like, it's essentially the Gamblers are still the Gamblers, but they took the Roughnecks name.
Well, they also have a bunch of the best defensive players in the USFL. Like, they've got some 2 tackle combo that won a bunch of awards.
Yeah, their D line
Toby
looks
Johnson,
absolutely stacked.
Yeah, it's stacked. And so what would really be interesting is I want to see them versus DC. You know, like I want to see those matchups.
Yeah.
But their quarterback is somebody that doesn't stick out to me at all. And I think 7 is probably the right place for them, you know? And then we have at the tail end, we have the Michigan Panthers, who absolutely, as I look at it right now, are the ugliest logo in the UFL.
Yeah, like brown, greenish brown and blue.
It's like diarrhea poop. It's diarrhea brown and blue. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Oh, wow. We're fucking Panthers and we shit ourselves. Good. Also, they have head coach Mike Nolan, who I feel like sucked ass in the NFL. Is that correct? Do I remember him from the NFL or am I just making that up?
Yeah, I believe so. And I feel like might have been another defensive coordinator.
I feel like he was a defensive coordinator. I feel like he got a shot at like 2 coaching jobs and got fired right away. I want to say one of them was like, I don't even know. I just feel like I recognize that name and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he sucks.
So yeah, he was. Oh, that's why you hate him so much. He was a head coach of the Niners.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Fuck that guy. I remember him.
Clearly, while not being successful, and then was
fuck
defensive
him.
coordinator.
Fuck that guy.
At a few stops around the league.
Oh, fuck that guy forever. Yeah, they've got a few playmakers. They've got a new offensive coordinator that they're touting. And it's one of those where they expect them to be better, but I don't think they will be. And so I think like one of the biggest things to watch for with this union is I think there's going to be a big division between the top of the league and the bottom of the league.
Yeah, I definitely think there is. And this is another one of those spots where the league to league comparison, like I personally put the Brahmas at 8 and the Panthers at 7 based on basically nothing, just reading information around the league. But it'll be interesting to see what the bottom of the barrel USFL team Panthers.
I think I'm putting all the USFL. I think I'm putting all the USFL teams on the bottom. And you know what? That might be a bold take, and I might be just eating my words this next week. But like, I just think, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm just excited to see. It makes it way more interesting walking into these week 1 matchups.
It sure does. All right, now let's get to the real fun stuff, which is the fucking gambling lines.
Yes,
man,
sir.
I'll tell you this. I don't know if you ever like bet anything on XFL last year, but it's the fucking Old West rodeo, bro. Like grab yourself some Spurs and get up there.
Walking into week 1 of the NFL, you've got no idea, but
right,
a heck of a lot better idea. This week though, nope.
No. Well, and like the lines are just all over the place. Like the ones that jump out the most to me is you have fucking the St. Louis Battlehawks are getting negative 6.5. So the Panthers are getting 6.5 points, which now in an NFL game, that sounds like, oh, that's pretty brutal. But that seems way too low. I mean, again, these fucking points go up so fucking quick that I think your normal like 3-point home line, I think in the UFL, like home field might be 4 points, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and let's see, even just looking at the over-under, that's 42.
Yeah. Like the over 42, the under 42 for the Panthers, who we think are going to be one of the worst teams in the league. And they're only getting 6.5. Like, I think like if I'm going to push money that I don't want to see again, I think the Battlehawks at negative 6.5, that's your like lock of the week. I just think like if they're as bad as we think they're going to be, there's no way the Battlehawks don't just put a fucking shellacking on them. Now, the Stallions and the Renegades game at 3.5, that's interesting. These are like, I almost say stay away from 3.5 games, you know? The one that's really interesting, and I feel like if I had followed the USFL more, I feel like if you want to actually bet on these and you want an actual like edge, even though it's only 1 point, the Showboats and the Roughnecks are probably your best bet because they were both USFL teams, so you can go back and actually find some like actual footage and history and stuff like that on them, right?
Yeah, I mean, potentially.
I mean, 1 point is nothing.
The Roughnecks have, like, I mean, that one more than others is a whole new team. They picked up, what was it, like 9 of the top USFL players?
Right.
I don't know. They're a mix. They're a true mix.
Well, and it's such an interesting. I don't know, man. It's so interesting. I can't wait. I can't wait. You know what? I honestly, I can't wait till next week's show. You know what I mean? I feel like next week we're going to know so much more, and the biggest thing is I'm going to know if you're enjoying or regretting this podcast. You know what I mean? Cause like if the shit sucks ass, you're gonna be like, God damn it, I have to watch this bullshit all season long.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you'll figure out one way or the other on Saturday.
Oh yeah, you're just gonna fucking flame text me like motherfuckers.
No, more likely it'll be actual engagement and excitement or silence.
I mean, whatever. You'll hear me like at fucking 3 p.m. Your phone's gonna blow up with me just going cause the law. Also, if you like the UFL and you're listening to it, don't forget to check out UFL Meme Wars. That's plural because there's 2 wars, bro. We'll also point that link on there. Yeah. Well, somebody parked that and like beat me to it, but like did nothing with it. I'm like, you motherfuckers. And I knew I should have done it the moment it happened. Like the moment I heard about it, I should have done it. I didn't. That's on me.
Yeah, they had their 2 weeks with 0 posts, so they're done.
Right. But yeah, so then we got what else we got? We got Battlehawks, Michigan Panthers. We got Defenders and Brahmas will actually be a fun game. That one's going to be interesting because you get to see because Wade Phillips was really doing good with the defense of the Roughnecks before. And that's something the Brahmas really were just kind of hit or miss with. So you're going to have 2 defensive teams really crashing into each other. But again, if you absolutely have to bet on the UFL, which, you know, many people do, I would honestly take the fucking Battlehawks 6.5. I think that's the easiest money ever. And here's the thing. If Michigan whoops the Battlehawks, like fucking the Birmingham Stallions are in for an easy season.
Well, probably, but it could also just be an aberration. Like I mentioned earlier, what was it? It was either the Guardians or the Vipers beat the Defenders last year. Anything can happen in 1 week, but I think you're right, and it's going to tell us a lot.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be the big moves, you know. And then, are there players you're super excited to watch? I mean, the fucking AJ McCarron story, like that's just the best thing ever, right? That dude could be backing up in the NFL, but he wants his kids to watch him play, and you just have to love that.
Right? We'd all take a bullet for AJ McCarron.
Yeah, you goddamn right, because cause the law, baby. I'm actually, you know what else? Here's a little insider baseball, right? I'm actually interested to see who So one of my favorite things about being a Battlehawk fan historically is just what an absolute legion of shitheels they are on Reddit. Like, the Reddit trolls of the Battlehawks are the best, but the biggest enemy that they just are, we always hated the Vipers, right? Because the Vipers, they used to be in, what was it, Orlando, and then they moved to Vegas, or LA. The Vipers were in a different city, and then they were in Vegas, and now they folded, right?
Yeah.
But the Battlehawks have always, the Vipers are always who they hated, and just arbitrarily, somebody said one day, yeah, birds hate snakes. And so they decided that was the focal point for all the abuse they were going to dish out. And the biggest thing that happens is they would say that Viper fans poop standing up. That was like their big insult.
And that's carried over. I noticed somebody posted, when does the shit talking start? The first response was from a Battlehawks fan saying, when the Stallions stop shitting standing.
So it's the Stallions. All right. See, that's all I needed. I needed to know who it was. You know what I mean? Because that was the thing. The Vipers were always the thing. And anytime, it's so funny because anytime you ask people, they're like, because the Battlehawks, and I don't know if you've been scoping around on Reddit, but the Battlehawk fans are fucking brutal. And if nothing else, you have to just be like, all right, you know what? Fine. You guys win. Right. But
I think they've got the numbers too.
Yes, no, they've always had. That's the thing. Like St. Louis is so starved for a football team since the Rams left that they just embrace. And the biggest thing that was the funniest shit ever was that towards the end of the year, there were Battlehawk fans on fucking Reddit forums talking shit to Kansas City Chiefs, saying yeah, we only got one good team in our state, motherfuckers, and it ain't you.
Oh, love it.
And they're talking about how fucking if the Chiefs played in the XFL rules, they get whooped, cause the law, and just going at them, So
that's phenomenal.
It's the stuff. No, it is. I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's just the team, and I arbitrarily rooted for them because, I was in Minnesota at the time and they did that big pie thing. Cause it used to be Chicago Enforcers was the original one that we were going for, cause you know how it is. A new team comes out. And then fucking, they came out and they're like, okay, I guess we're fucking Battlehawks fans. And then like immediately these guys just started digging in and they were so fucking brutal to people. It was amazing. But there's just always,
as long as they don't go cross the line to Eagles fans and start throwing batteries at people.
No, it's never that. It's, or at least I shouldn't say it's never that. It just hasn't been. I mean, I like what I've seen is they dress up in a shitload of Battlehawks gear and talk the most annoying shit you've ever heard in your life.
And that I'm all for.
And the memes, oh my God, the memes. They meme on a like 3-to-1 basis of anybody else. Because the thing is it was just sheer numbers, you know, because like they were so thirsty and the fucking whole city got behind them. And so they just started rolling on people online. And it's the funny, I'm telling you, the old Viper shit, like you should look at like I think it's still there because the subreddits don't go anywhere, but they have they have like the old teams, because all the teams in the XFL had their own subreddit, right?
Yeah.
And like they literally like there were Battlehawks fans just getting banned from the Vipers because they would just go in there like Viper fans poop standing up, and they had all these memes and it's just fucking like it was amazing.
I'm all for it. Well, and I mean, I'm assuming the Stallions, for instance, some of these USFL teams had some pretty decent followings as well.
I would think the Stallions did, because again, I would think Birmingham would be real hungry for football. I honestly, no lie, I'm hoping that the Stallions beat, like, I want the Stallions to beat the absolute shit out of the Renegades. That is what is the best for, like, because if they come out and they just beat the brakes off the Renegades, we've got ourselves a fucking league, you know? And if they barely edge them out to win, fine. But I mean, like, if they just come out and just beat the brakes off them, then it becomes real fun. Like, if they beat the brakes off them and the Battlehawks beat the brakes off the Panthers, then it's just all systems go for who knows, you know?
Well, and then we'll get both of those fan bases talking all kinds of shit, which is ultimately what's going to get people to enjoy it.
Well, and honestly, like the Battlehawks fans, they talk more shit on a loss than they do on a win.
All right. And then I'm just checking to see when Battlehawks and Stallions play.
3 p.m. on Saturday, March 30th.
No, Battlehawks and the Stallions.
Oh, I don't know. I'm looking at this week. We got Stallions and Renegades at 12 p.m. on Saturday. We've got Battlehawks and Panthers at 3 p.m. on Saturday. And then we've got Defenders and Brahmas at 11 a.m. on Sunday. And we have Memphis Showboats and Houston Roughnecks at 2 p.m. on Sunday. And that's the other thing that's kind of cool that they're carrying over from the XFL is it feels like playoff football because there's games every day of the weekend, you know?
Yep. Well, and they're spread out so that people who are really going to try and dig in can easily watch every single game, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, just checking for the heck of it. Battlehawks and Stallions face off in week 7. So there'll be plenty of times for both of them to build up a record before that.
And again, if you got the old Twitter, if you're one of these twit heads, I don't know what they're called. I'm just going to call them twit heads. I don't know why I said that. Sometimes I just say shit, you know? If you're one of these Twitter people, make sure you follow Force Football. I will copy over and post some of the best memes I've seen. And if you're on Reddit, UFL meme wars to the S. I'll post it on the thing. Just go to the Twitter. The Twitter's where you're going to get a hold of us for everything so far. And then theoretically, I'll have this all up and running. And then this podcast should be available to you weekly wherever you get podcasts, because it's on Libsyn. So I'll be able to port it over to everything. So it'll be on Spotify. It'll be on iTunes, wherever you get. And then, you know, if you follow Corey Adam Comedy on YouTube, you'll be able to catch the live recording of it. A lot of people in the chat room are mad that I'm not interacting with them, but guess what? This one's not for you guys. I'm sorry. They can't all be for you. I'm sorry. You know what I'll do though? No, you know what? I'm not even gonna. I want to just fucking teach these people a lesson. I was gonna open up the phone lines, but you know what? No, absolutely not. A lot of not fucking Ka fans out there, bro.
The other thing I think I'll do to the Twitter is just post my DFS roster for both the altfantasysports.com/daily and for DraftKings. Feel free to post your own. We'll see how we compare.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing. And just make sure you notate like Nate or Corey, you know, just so that people have a reference. And if they want to do the same thing, and if they want to get a hold of us too, we have that email. You can absolutely email the show. And that email is 4seasonsfootball@gmail.com. And that is 4 spelled out FOUR seasonsfootball@gmail.com. And then, of course, the website where you can go if you're having trouble getting it will be 4seasonsfootball.life. We love the .lifes. I love that shit. So it's pretty good. Anything else? Pretty good first episode. Solid. I'm really excited about this. This is going to be pretty great.
Yeah, I'm excited to dig in and actually see some football, make my own determinations, talk some shit. Let's go.
What is the law, Nate? What's the law? Do you know what the law is?
Ah!
All right, you guys have been awesome. We've been us. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time. All right, we're clear. We're still on air. I cut the recording for the audio. I just want to say thank you for everybody that watched across the different platforms. We got people watching on Rumble. Thank you very much. We got people watching on Kick. Thank you very much. We got people watching on YouTube, which is super fucking awesome. Thank you so much for your super chat, Burnt Wine. It meant the world to me. I really appreciate it. And maybe I'll get Felicia on here. We'll see. I love me some Felicia. You guys are rad. This is great. Nate, say hello to people. We're off the episode, but the shit's still going.
Beauty. Thanks everybody for showing up and watching or listening.
Yeah, we had 11 viewers over on Twitter. We had 10 viewers over on Kick. We had I don't know how many we had over on Twitch. Looks like 6. I mean, we had like
I'm
about
going to go
50...
ahead and attribute none of the interest in you whatsoever and just some rabid UFL fans that have just been searching over and over, waiting for something to pop up.
Rabid UFL fans. Like, that's all it is, bro. Just huge UFL fans. All right, guys. I'm going to... Husky is one of course. I love Husky. Husky's great. You guys are awesome. I'm going to cut the feed now, but I wanted to make sure I thanked all you guys for coming. Maybe if you're lucky, I'll pop on. I'll tell you what. I'll pop on a little bit later tonight, and we can just fuck around because we haven't fucked around in a while. But thank you guys so much for coming out and supporting. You guys are awesome.